Hello, everybody, and welcome on back to some Minecraft Musings Season 4 Oasis. Uh, we've been getting a lot of progress. Oh, wait. What wares do you have, Wandering Trader? Yeah, not much good, but since I have, like, unlimited diamonds, it's like the actual act of getting the diamonds is what I need it all for. Alright. Anyways, no, we have some interesting developments going on. Well, first, back to the game. So we've got a lot of building going on the skyscraper, the dark tower. Not so much a dark tower anymore, it's just more like a skyscraper since I made it mostly glass, but maybe like the Emerald Tower or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's build height up there, at least with like the three of them. I think that fourth one's just, so we need like what, one, so one, two, three, four, five, six, if I'm eyeballing it, six or seven more floors. Then I need to put a water elevator in there, and there's literally nothing in there. I've started adding an enchanting setup, an enchanting table, and some bookshelves in there. Oh, someone's up on the third floor. So, and most used is probably going to be these first two floors. So, and that little window area is the second floor. That's their dark bedroom. So, anyways, and we're building the mausoleum, temple, or shrine, or what have you, over there. So, and having just gotten back from Malaysia and visiting a few shrines. So, actually, I went to, what is it? The Peranakan Mansion, the Penang Peranakan Mansion, however you say that. Basically, it was a bunch of mafia people. And I loved it. And this is just one of the many things that like just make me realize that we're all people and we all do almost the same exact stuff, like down to a T. Um, and like when I was there, we were learning about the clothes and the customs and like how people lived in that day and how they overcame hardships. It was like the Wild West, like a bunch of like Asian, like Chinese, yeah, Chinese specifically were coming over and there was like different classes, social classes. There was the poor people, like the ghetto, like you'd think like the hillbillies type here, and then there's the wealthy like cultured ones, and a lot of them like we heard like they even went to school in like England and stuff. So you had like culture from England, culture from China. Could you speak really good English or could you even speak Chinese? There was a distinction of kind of like not flat out racism, but just judgment from if they look Chinese but they don't speak Chinese, then it's disrespectful to like their home country and I don't know, like humanity does that. We have a way about ourselves where we like to take pride in our country, take national pride in all this, and for some reason we like to think that there's an outsider, that there's a monster on the other side. And I'm definitely dealing with this on the X app, and I'm already a little uneasy because I've lost two friends from either side already. At least for now. Like we might talk in the future, but like one was way too far left and one was way too far right. And both had allowed themselves to be consumed with anger from what they heard from what they heard. And we all need to know that what we hear, what we take in is curated. It's a feed. It's a feed curated by our likes and our preferences. And so that allows us to be stuck in echo chambers. Now, Elon did a really good thing. When he first bought Twitter, he forced all people with different perspectives to talk to each other. He's just like, you know what? It reminds me of the meme where it's like Mike Tyson pushing two things together and saying, now kid, like acting like they're dolls or something, but it's usually like animals or people or whatever. But anyways, he took the two sides, the two political sides, and just mashed them together and just like, here, talk it out. We need open dialogue and communication to fix things. Now, um, well, that's easily getting out of hand, and I wonder how much is actually him trying to boost usage of the app because there's a lot more. I mean, whether it's good or bad, it's all usage. So, I mean, it could be really toxic. It could be, and he's put out statistics where like the amount of hate speech has decreased. And I'll admit, like, I mean, even like my side, generally Democrat, liberal, like, I've seen a lot of angry posts and tweets, like, just straight up disrespectful, rude, using foul language. Like, I get it. But then you also see, like, people snap on the other side and they respond with some really messed up stuff. One, Like, one I just will not stand is when people start throwing around the word pedo. Like, that's some very serious fighting words. I mean, from my experience, my history, like, and I've grown up knowing corrections and like behavior and stuff, and I thought I knew until I got to college and like I met more people that were directly from prison and like, they explained to me the way things were and why they were, and it made total sense. It's like when you're stuck with a bunch of people, there is no room for disrespect. You have to live with each other. So every time you step on someone's toes or you act an idiot and most of the time you're not even intending to, it's accidental on your end. And same with a lot of the way we talk, a lot of the way we act, it's accidental. Like just like how okay, so the movie Crash, that's a really good movie about racism, and I was watching it on my business trip, and like basically, uh, racism is true to a point. Like it's not based on completely fake stuff, but it is harmful, and it's much quicker to assume things and to start drawing, conclusions that are most likely not even there, or connecting dots that don't exist, and just getting angry about it, and then letting emotion dictate your actions. So that's like humanity analysis in a nutshell. Like we're very quick to anger, we're very quick to jealousy because we've been tricked so many times, especially like in this generation. Like everything is a sale, a gimmick, trying to make business, and we're starting to fix that, reel it in, be like, hey, now you can't flat out lie to people. And like The Simpsons is a great show for that. You watch all this stuff in there, like capitalism and how it's gone wrong, and like money exchanged hands, not always in the best faith, but that's capitalism. Like if you make a product and if it's successful, same with YouTube and the shows and stuff. Like, I watch some of the dumbest things and I love it. Like, and I watch the ads on YouTube, and I'm going to be upgrading here soon. I don't know when, but like, I need to upgrade my storage for Google in general. And it's not even linked to this, which is amazing. Like, so, and plus I've been using their tools. Same with Hotmail. Like, when I was a kid making a Hotmail email account, okay, I didn't have money, so I was just a kid. And then once I was older, if I was still using Hotmail, I'd pay something like, I still pay a subscription fee for this realm with Minecraft, and I have no problem with it, even though I'm still probably a ways, probably like a good year or two off from getting my own kids involved in it. Just because when they play, they like to play offline. Like, they don't really care about this specific world. It doesn't have the same intrinsic value to them, which makes total sense. Like, I've spent a lot of time here, done a lot of musings, built a lot of cool things. Like, sorry, let's look at the Emerald Tower again. I love that Emerald Tower. Call it that now. Now, Dark Tower is an homage to Stephen King's The Dark Tower series, which is one of my favorite book series. Like he does some very good writing. He does some strange writing too. Like not everybody's going to be perfect all 100% of the time. And his political views, whew, he likes to get in it, But he can't help it. It's human nature, and especially with XApp connecting people. And love and hate Elon, whatever. Like, I don't hate the guy. I disapprove of some of his posts, but at the end of the day, I realize that that's my own echo chamber talking. That's my own posse, my own clan, my own group, shaking their head in dismay, being like, hey, but that's okay. I've been having that my whole life. Like, I grew up in a small mountain town that's mostly Republican, like, and dated a beautiful, like, half Jewish woman that was just, well, I mean, I guess she was a girl back then, but it sounds weird me talking like that, but no. My first wife basically was half Jewish, half Catholic, and not even Catholic. I'd say just Christian, like non-practicing. Like a lot of people were. Like, I mean, yeah, they're like, yeah, Christian, the Bible, we need to be nice, but at the same time, they'd be like, I don't have time to worry about all that. It's cold, or I gotta go I gotta go inside, or I gotta go do something. Like, that's the beauty of living up in the mountains. Like, you don't waste words as easy as you would elsewhere. And I've found that. And same with small towns versus cities. Like, you're a lot more likely to be on your better behavior and, treat people with respect because it's like prison. You're going to have to see them. You're going to see them in the grocery store. Like, and then you suddenly realize, wow, that thing I said that was kind of mean, it's come back to bite me. Like, it's accountability in my face. And then prison is like hyper accountability. Like, you can't even say the B word. And I learned that pretty quick. And, like, I've never been to prison, just like I've never been to military, like, well, actual war. I mean, I dipped my toes, as it were. We could say that with a lot of things. And through that came more perspectives, more layers of understanding of just people, like understanding people on different levels. I mean, and And yeah, and it all comes down to we're all the same. We all bleed. We all cry. We all get excited. We all, get embarrassed. Like all of these things, human emotions. Now, everything in moderation is still true in everything I've seen. Like you can't overdo any of it. Like I feel like the people getting all the face tattoos, like really trying to prove that. Okay, I mean, one's fine. We get it. Like and hopefully we're getting to a point where that isn't even necessary. Same with because it basically is like warrior paint, like back in tribal native days. And that's another cool thing to point out. When I was in Malaga, Spain, I toured the fort there. I forget what it's called, but like I did a review on the Googles, and like anyways, I'm gonna try to be more active with that because that's just fun, connecting the world, like Dubai and everything. But anyways, the pottery, the tools. It was like I was walking around the Cliff Dwelling Museum or Mesa Verde or any of the Native American Indian tribes that we had. Whatever you want to call them. I still think Indian is kind of dumb because I now understand the protests against Columbus and Columbus Day. Like, I got the churched up, clean version of Columbus. Like, oh, he sailed over, and oh, there's some Indians, and then scene missing, and then like two Indians are left, and like, oh, by the way, we're not really Indians. This isn't India. This is America. I'm Navajo. This is from Cherokee, and like, they represent, and they had actual names, but we were just lazy. Like, yeah, no, India. That makes sense. All right, pack it up. Let's get out of here. Like and that's why I love adult cartoons. Like not like porn, hentai, or anything like that. I mean, those are great too. But no, like Simpsons, Futurama, Family Guy, all of these comedy shows that are able to just like say a lot of things, and it goes both ways too. I know I've said it in these musings quite a bit, like transgenderism, like that. It's not my biggest concern. I respect people with their rights as humans to do what they want, to pursue happiness, and if that's it, then and if that many people are doing it, then hey, maybe there's something to it. Like it's not like savages, like we like to think that people are savages or monsters or creatures or that way we can dehumanize and think of. But if it's someone in our own family, like oh Gerald, like oh you're doing it, okay, and and I'm constantly bringing up religion because that's one of the like I grew up in the church. Like I was a freaking acolyte. I brought the light of Christ in every Sunday for like 3 years there. It was like and I didn't wear like a robe or anything. And if I didn't show up for whatever reason, like some old person would do it. Like and that's I felt bad too because there's a bunch of old people that from my community, my elders, and I got to hang out with them once a week. I guess I didn't cherish it as much as I probably would now, and which is funny because I don't go to church. I'm leery of anyone trying to do control. I mean, like even at my church, I don't know. It was we had people kind of going their own way, like believing, I think this makes sense, but this no. And I remember Sunday school, like which was usually a woman teaching it, and she'd kind of glaze over the Adam and Eve story and like but people were made from dust, and she'd like constantly like say that right after the Adam and Eve thing. We'd pick up on that, be like, wait a minute, this person is a little awkward teaching the Bible. Why is that? And now I'm finding out full force why. Women not even being able to vote. Like wow, that's. Whew. I can't wait to see a comedy show with that. Although it's been in there, I mean, but you like to think that that wouldn't happen today. Same with the date rape drugs. When I was up in the mountains, we didn't have any of that. And then I found out they have them down here. Like it's ridiculous. So you got to watch your drink. There's a whole market of protective things. Like there's a fingernail polish that can detect if there's date rape drugs in your drink. Like but like there's a need for that. Like I don't know. It's alarming. And but not that I'm perfect in any way. Like I mean, yeah, I've never drugged a woman and raped him. Like congratulations for me. I feel like that comes pretty standard. Like but there's some people in the city. I know somebody I thought I knew very well, ended up doing exactly that. We threw fisticuffs over it. So, yeah, it's spoiled brat. Anyways, it was kind of like that Bruce Willis show. What is that with Sin City, where it's the mayor's kid is like doing the sex crimes and like just pure evil, and he's just getting away with it too. And like even the whole police force is like, I don't want to spoil the show, but basically it's Bruce Willis against the world and trying to save innocent victims. And you really grow a connection with these victims, like these ladies that, end up being more like, I don't know. It's all good because it gives them ferocity and then it gives them power. Like the women in there were just as dangerous as, and I loved that. Like it was like it brought some equality and like and this whole argument right now on the X app, I'm arguing with a bunch of people that don't think women should vote because they're not in the selective service. Well, guess what? I'm not in the service either, and I was trying. I got kicked out for substance violations, like like whoops. And I'm okay saying that now because it's not something to be embarrassed about. Like, yeah, it was bad at the time, but I was able to pursue education and I took a different path, and I'm much happier for it. Like, I'm so glad I didn't kill anybody, first off. Second off, I'm glad I lived with a Saudi and made many Saudi friends and consider them family now. And not, granted, yeah, someone's out there probably pushing the glasses up their nose, be like, actually, we were never in Saudi Arabia. When I was gonna be like, actually, all of the pilots were Saudi that supposedly destroyed the towers on 9/11. So what's wrong with you? Like, I'm not saying like I'm glad that they're confused and misdirected, but like when I saw that movie and I was ready to sign up for the service, I was like, yeah, let's go, let's go do all these evil things. Let's go kill us some Middle Eastern people. And I was ready. I was so angry, blinded to the point of fury over, yeah, an attack. I'm not saying that it wasn't nothing. Like, buildings collapsed, free fall, mind you, by the way. But yeah, and people say, well, it's the architecture. Well, how come nobody was allowed in, at ground zero? Well, it was a quarantine. They had no idea what to make of it. Like, block it off. So there's so many different back and forths. A whole South Park episode on it. Mm. That explains it really well. It's like people almost want you to think that this was an inside job so bad, but then it wasn't. But then, either that or maybe they did just drop the ball really bad. Like, I don't know. I mean, or considering we had the Bay of Pigs false flag attack, recently around that, trying to fight communism, and now you got American Made coming out with Tom Cruise showing how, and like I used to kind of like half believe that the CIA flew in a bunch of cocaine into the U.S., but it's true. It's true. They didn't do it directly. They were like, hey, son, you want to smuggle a bunch of drugs into the country? No. How it happened was they wanted to spy on people that they thought were communists. So they let a few bad things happen to try to say, oh, but at least we got intel on them. So we got these really good pictures. And it's all based on a true story. Like, the biggest, like, accidental, like, drug influx in the country. And then and I've been doing more research on this because this does affect a lot of people I know. Basically, if you're poorer than the average person, you might have a tendency to either be abusive with drugs or alcohol. It's just a fact. Like, and how do we fix it? You fix the underlying problems. You don't fix the behavior, the reaction. Like, that's why I always hated when like people would relapse and they'd feel like just completely horrible and have a pity party and be like, "Oh, I'm such a horrible human." And like, no, that shame is doing nothing for you. Like, admit it, own it. Be like, I screwed up. And then what are you going to do moving forward? Like, are you going to actually fix it? Or are you just going to keep finding yourself in the same pity party? And it's no fault of the people. It's people got to go through it if they don't understand that. Like, the best way you can know is see for yourself. However, like, I don't know. And we're getting to that point. Like, rehab treatment and all that is being more hyper focused to being like, okay, let's take care of the hows. Like, how did you get here? Oh, your housing might not be stable. Okay, well, let's fix that. Your income might be horrible. Minimum wage, yeah, nobody can really live on that. So then you have to live with a bunch of roommates that may or may not understand certain things. They may or may not be educated in certain ways that are comfortable to you, or they might be completely backwards. Like I'm dealing with all these people and think that women should, but I'm just kidding. Like I do still consider that one friend a friend, even though he's very angry and like he's not talking to me. But and now I got another friend that's following on the X app, and but it's good. We got to get this out. I mean, I just talked to my best buddy from back home, biggest Trump supporter I know, and we have great conversations. We have a good talk, like, and he does that too. He's like, so what do you think about this? And I'm like, you know what? Actually, I'm not that supportive of it. I say that a lot, like the transgender thing. And I hate that because I'm going to catch flack from my own family if I ever say anything that strays from it. It is like the Rainbow Mafia, kind of. Like, it's like if you're not on board with it, they automatically paint you as the ugly that they've seen other people exhibit. And that's not fair. That's a bunch of weighted analysis that's pinned to somebody. And basically, people are looking for a target because it's become so run away with the lies. Like the election being stolen. We went through and it's been proven what like 61 out of 62 or there's like only one court case that actually stuck that actually proved there was some election fraud. And there was some dirty pool from both sides, but not to the level that people thought. I mean, I could be completely wrong, such is the way of science, but it's very doubtful. Very, very doubtful. Like the ratio, the probability of that many court cases falling through, like, because that's the thing, like people want, like if they people hear that, oh no, the system's unfair, well, I better make sure it's not unfair. I don't want to be getting gypped, and I don't want other people gypped. At our base, at our core, we really do wish these things for other people. Like we do want wish them well. It's just politics because of the lies, because of the razzle dazzle. All right, anyways, let's get down to brass tacks. How do we fix it? So you ban money from campaigning. But you can't just do it overnight because the people that are politicians are often Ivy League grads that, they've been vetted, they've been, bred to do this. Like they've been coached, they've been, you know, and it's the teams too. It's like, our team versus their team. It's become so much like that that yeah, it's just a lot of coaching, a lot of guiding, a lot of misdirecting, a lot of anger, and it does come from both sides. And it sucks to say that because it's like you don't want to look a fool. I'm talking with this one guy. Oh, sorry. Anyways, back to that. You need to make education cheaper because you need to still keep the education. Like, they need to have a firm grasping and understanding of law, ethics, business, politics. And then I believe we also need to make a bunch of psychology, sociology, anthropology mandatory because it's only after we really study other people and other cultures and realize, oh yeah, yeah, that's me. That's like looking in a mirror for a lot of these things. And that's what a lot of people around the world are trying to say. Be like, I'm just like you. I just want to be happy. Like, oh, how about a bunch of bombs? Like, best I can do is bombing your whole country. Like that's a message we've been sending out for the last 20, 30 years, the majority of my lifetime. Okay, so yeah, it makes sense that maybe we try some different methods, put some women in charge. Like that's what drives me nuts with all this is like, it's women can't vote. I can't get over that. Like never thought that that'd be. I mean, they do have a point. Like if they can't sign up to selective service, but then if you look even like further in the fine print, it's the Republicans that are constantly blocking the selective service. So like there's a form of control and manipulation of keeping them oppressed, keeping them down and in the kitchen making sandwiches or whatever, making babies, because that's all they're good. And then that's like a gross misunderstanding the other way. Like there is the argument that they want to protect them, they want to keep them from the hard work or having to die, which is a very real concern. Like death is hard. Then I don't know. You've got all this other death happening from all these other things. The war on drug, accidental death, like, by keeping it a black market and outlawing substances. I'm not saying we should, normalize them and make them, everybody start using substances. No, but just like prohibition didn't work with alcohol, they found a way, a black market formed, and it was very powerful to, you're already breaking the law this far. If you get caught, you're already in trouble. So what's a little more? Like, it allows for that leeway to slide into more evil and more dangerous actions. So, and then, and that's if you don't fully grasp what's going on, like the person at the other end of that gun that you're whacking or whatever, like, and I do love the mafia movies because like even in those, like it shows, like what was it, the Goodfellas, if that one hit that they do, it came back to bite them hard, and it's just understanding that, making that connection, and then seeing the endings too. I don't want to spoil that either. Go see the Goodfellas, but like if you really pay attention to what's happening, everybody's lives just become destroyed, and it's a lot of it's theft. And sorry, in a roundabout way, I was in Malaysia at this mafia house basically, and the people that lived there were kind of thieves. They would steal from people, and like they would. And to me, that's not okay. And that's like, and that goes for companies, corporations, everything. Like, you know, it needs to be actual good business. Like, you can't be ripping people off. And we're trying to do that. We're trying to get as close to that as possible. But I mean, I don't know. And you're always going to have misunderstandings in value. Like, someone's going to value something more than you, and then it's going to feel like a rip-off or a bad trade or whatever. But, a lot of things you don't take into consideration is all the time that they spent not getting a sale. Like, they have to kind of pay out of time, and it's hard. The way we've structured work and pay and what work is worth, it's hard. And I don't know, I feel like we're going to be shifting a lot of our economies to just, hey, we need to make a lot of food and we need to fix things. Like that's going to be more in demand than a lot of this fake faux like stuff we got going on. I don't know. I feel like we're going to get a ton of farmers and a ton of actually I don't even know. Once we get rid of war, we're gonna have so much freed up time on our hands and like resources, and we're close to that. As soon as we realize that the people that we're potentially killing are the same as us, then it's harder to do, and that's why so many soldiers come back with PTSD, and that's why Colorado legalized shrooms to help combat PTSD. That was what the main commercial was for. It was veterans struggling with a quality of life because they killed somebody or they lost a friend or I experienced some PTSD like that early on. My friend died in a car crash. He drove drunk, died before we were even. I don't think we were. Maybe we were graduated. I don't know. Because it was when I was still in Buny. I was heading off to the Marines first, and I did that for a couple months, and then college. But like, no, it was. I think it was the summer after graduation. I'm pretty sure he was able to walk for graduation, but then he died. Yeah, because he killed the giraffe at graduation. I'm pretty sure, and that was a noise that he used to make. We played football together, and I mean, I wouldn't even say he was like a close friend. Because we split off long ago. Like, we kind of had a falling out. I went with a bunch of nerdier friends, and, like, he stayed with kind of the more, kind of like more bullying, kind of more like seizing power. Like, taking it, not realizing it might be stepping on people's toes. And that's how we found out. And actually, it was funny because one of the other friends, he's now a cop on the gang unit down in Denver, and, like, um, he's dealing with some ugly stuff, but he's also dealing with some realizations. Like, when he's talking to these people, I know he's going to be like, man, you talk a lot like my buddy back home, or wow, you starting to make a lot of too much sense. And that's just it too. People on both sides of the bars talk, and all the correctional workers like they bring that home and they analyze it. They're like, although they're not supposed to. You're not supposed to talk about like what happens at work. And to be honest, my family never really talked about specifics. But you could tell they were trying to understand people and why people would do what they do, and then they would try to do everything they could to prevent me and my sister, from going that way, and all our friends. Like, we were like a big case study of how do we make sure that this doesn't happen to our own kids? Like, while living in a very poor place with not a lot going on, people scrounging, people scraping, and a lot of alcohol, a lot of booze. So, which doesn't really help. I mean, it helps temporarily. You might be like, oh, okay, I'm relaxed for a little bit, or, this makes it worth it, all of this hard work that I got to do. But I don't know. And cannabis is just such a healthier alternative. And I think once China legalizes it, then Russia's going to follow suit, and then everybody's going to just look silly. Or if Saudi Arabia did it, that would be really funny because they're on the verge of legalizing alcohol from what I hear. Like, they've just seen and observed so much of what's going on in neighboring areas that they're like, huh, maybe this isn't all that bad. And, like maybe we blew things out of proportion. Maybe we miscommunicated, which is totally fine. But that's why we need to get more people going to college. Like, everybody should be able to go to college instead of like the military. Or even if we just converted the military into a more college thing. Like, there's ways we could compromise. I mean, but if we disarmed the war effort, like if we made it to where people didn't need to actually like do too much military, just maybe go and live in a barracks for a while and learn some skills, learn some harsh life, like it's like going camping for months on end, like camping with people yelling at you. And oh, how they yell. Oh my god. So yeah, I was in basic for a couple of months, like, or maybe even a month. I don't know. It was enough, but hmm. Yeah, 'cause I think it was only like a 3 month thing, and I don't think it made it a full month before they separated me out. But anyways, so I have respect for the people that go. So I don't talk with too much disrespect, except for as I say that, this dude that I'm talking with, his every tweet, every response, I guess their post, he was like calling me some name. He was talking smack on my dad, who was actually a military person too. Like, and that's why I even showed him a picture of my grandpa Sil, who fought in World War II. I'm pretty sure he fought. He was in the military. And and there's this general or this leader, like manager looking guy, like patting him on the shoulder and like talking. And, and that's just been like my family. Like, we've always been in positions of power, positions of trust, positions of support. Like, not really the first person, but the second. Like, we'll back up people and we'll do what needs to be done. You know, like I mean, I played football. I was the blind side, There's a whole movie about how that, like that very more sensitive like guy with feelings that had a hard time, got shown some kindness. Um, yeah, and he ended up being a great football player, and he played professionally, did all these good things, and so it happens. But like we should fix it to where people don't have harsh upbringings like that. And that was more like crack, like like there was a bunch of crack introduced in like New York and oh there. So if you study that and it was intentional, like vilifying weed, marijuana, and drugs was a way to strike at the forward thinkers, the people that were going to disagree with Nixon and Reagan, and that's what's come out with these discussions. I actually learned a little history there too. So it was Nixon that started the war on drugs, and then Reagan like put it into full gear after he oopsed with importing a bunch of cocaine by trying to get pictures of communists. Like, see, so it's all this tangled webs of, nobody intentionally was like, "Meh, I'm going to go give drugs to your kids." But, like, that's how it came about, the just say no. And then how all these drugs showed up here because it was so profitable. There was so much money in it. And people with not a lot of, I mean, yeah, they had a lot of money down there and they got a taste for power and just like human nature that just went gangbusters because nobody stopped it. But if we give alternative ways, even the cartels, even all of that, I believe that they could change. Like if we built hotels. Sorry, and this will be my parting thought for this musing. Then I gotta go get to work. But if we just built a bunch of hotels along the border, got people a chance to rest, get cleaned up, get educated, and stay there, so we keep both sides happy. So we're not letting all these illegals in, and freaking out about it. But treat them with respect, give them a chance, and then get it to where they can take that all back down south. They can bring all this extra food, all this energy, like build power plants, like nuclear facilities. Like we've got a bunch of free or cheap labor, not free, because they still need to get paid. But if you pay them by letting them stay and they rack up a bill, and especially if they want to become a citizen, they got to keep track of it. So they got to have a number. But once they're in that system and they're easily traceable, then they can earn their way and they can get in and everybody can feel good about it. Like if they become a US citizen, great. They'll have a job, they'll be working, they'll have helped build their own home, or they've secured a place to live, or they've helped us build big massive amounts of homes for other people that need it, like this. Anyways, we do that, it'll be good. So, but now I got to deal with the fact that I think I might lose another friend. Ugh, radicals. And I got a call from someone at midnight. So I'll see what that's about. Anyways, I'll talk to you later. Have a great day.